Welcome to the social class, dear 10th and students. Today we would like to travel into the economic class, that is the rural development. We are going to study about the rural development. Hope you people understand about the word called rural. Rural is in a place, a true place of India, where the life of India, or we can say, where the true, the living of India can be seen in the rural area. Today we have become unnoticeable in improvement. Okay, we are seeing that there's no good improvement in that such places. Today we see if the word comes like rural areas, everybody think of negative. Everybody think of negligence, because who gonna live in that place? Villages are, neglected. The developments of the villages are neglected. Why so? Why it is happening so? There is a cause. Okay. So we are going to understand about why and how many percentage of the people that occupy the major population of the country, which is in India, that is mainly it is in the rural areas. But we are seeing that the rural areas are being neglected in the field of development. Let us see. Today we are going to understand about each and every one. Today we are going to understand the meaning of rural development. If we can talk about the rural development, the Gandhiji said, Mahatma Gandhiji said that, the rural development, true development of its country is a development of its villages. Yes, exactly. You can see one by one. India is a land of villages. India is a land of villages. We see that according to the census report of 2011, which gives the report of, that is 68.84, that is up to 70% of the people, remaining 30% is the urban areas. Town and urban and cities we can find that is only 30%. But mainly the 70% of the population in the country of India, their life is in village. They live in village. Therefore, the village's development is a true development said by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, M.K. Gandhi. Why he particularly have to say this word? Because the major population of the India, it lives in the villages. Don't focus on Delhi. Don't focus on the Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai. We have to see, search out, think about the place called the villages. The villages are there, the picture of the India we can see right today. We are seeing that villages are declining. Villages are neglected. Villages are not developed today. And today's topic is rural development. How is it possible that rural should get developed? What is the possibility to develop the Delhi? What is the possibility that to develop the Bangalore? How is it changed into a capital city, this state? We see that. How is it possible? It is possible when the real development is taking place in that particular area. We find to see there are certain cities only we see a high development due to certain things. But when it comes to the term of the villages, why the villages, even we see that the 70% after we got an independence, we have crossed 73 years. If we compare to the 2020, we have crossed 73 years and we are about to celebrate the 74th independence. we see that these 70 years have been crossed and completed after India got the independence, and still today we see the situation, the villages are backward. The backwardness can be seen in the villages. When you compare when we talk about the national income, it is the villages which are the backbone of the country. The agriculture was the backbone of its nation. The agriculture is known as the backbone of its country. So we see the villages only, even after the independence, till today they are in the form of backwardness. Why and how is it so? What is that made that even today the villages should have a backward position? 1/3 of the population, that means 70% and 30%. 30% is only in the city, down in the city. But remaining major proportion of the population, it is in the village. So when it is in the village, the major population found in the country of India as they live in the poverty, living in the poverty. The 1/3 of the population lives in poverty. I was seeing one picture which was sent by my friend in WhatsApp, which was the house of a farmer. It is made up of some huts. When a huge rain and the floods came, the farmer had no roof on his head. He had to awake the whole night and bear that rain and that wind, and just blew him away, and he was sink into the water and he had lost his life. The same agriculture minister, when you look at the minister of the agriculture, he lives in a big mansion. The rain comes, the wind blows, the flood comes. He sleeps at night without any fear. Though the villages, though the many villages sink into the water, it is said that presently it's a huge rain in Bidar city, an entire township. The surrounding places are being, flooded into different villages. We are seeing that all villages have lost their crops, lives, their animals, their herds are disappeared. They have no place to sleep. They don't have a life today. They became wanderers, like early of the age, the first stage of the man evolution. People were wanderers. They have no specific place. They had no settlement. Today also in the villages, most of the proportion of the people, they are migrating from one place to the another place because their life is not settled. Because they have no proper, the availability that they should depend on. Even what I say that the minister is sleeping the whole night without bothering about the life of the villagers. When we check out the accounts of the ministers and the farmers, farmer life, it is said that he born in a debt and he died in a debt. He was born into the debt and again is dying into the debt. But you see that the politics, social life of the politician people, they may be born in a debt. They born in lending the money, and they die in lending the money. There is a huge difference between them and them. You can check out the present situation of the India. The actual development of the village is not happening what it's supposed to take place. How we can improve the quality of the life of the people in India, how it can be changed, who can change, who is there, the right personality to change the backwardness of the 70% of the villages. It is many people who believes in the village level that the government has initiated many programs and plans. The many programs and the plans have been implemented for the purpose to rural development. What kind of development they can do it? What kind of development it should bring to the rural level? All plans are failed because we crossed 70 years. India is independent 73 years before ago. We are in the stage of 70 years have been crossed, but we see 1/3 of the population still it is in the poverty line. Who is the responsible to help the life of the people? How a person's life is changed when 5 years back or 10 years back we entered into the politics. The people who are working as workers, as a politicians, people so-called as a politicians, people so-called government employees, people so-called, the officials of the government, their life in comparing 70 years, it is not, the life they started in the beginning. They had no proper, food for a life. But when they came into the politics, when they came into the government official, their property increases, their bank accounts increases, their income increases, they become a big landlords, they become such a great, the big, we can say, business people. They have everything when they had nothing, but they got everything. How a life of a politician is changed, then why it is 70 years of independence, still the rural people lives in a poverty. There is no proper life. Government has failed to implement its many programs and plans in the rural. We only see the TV ads, we only see people in the newspapers, we only see the programs in the newspapers. There are big, pictures, you can see the ads. Once a minister visits in a village and he uploads the big photo picture I just showed in the front page of the headlines as so that he has done a great work and great job. The basic responsibility of its government of the country of given a period of 70 years has not completed yet the rural development. So the real situation of the India is, government adopted only urban development policy. As long as government adopt the urbans are developing, comparatively to villages, the urban are developing very rapidly. Yes. Major proportion of the urban development, the first thing is we talk about like hospitals, politicians, okay, businesses, politicians, petrol pumps, politicians, plottings, flattings, everything we see in the politicians. Then slowly the urban areas are developing like anything in just 5 to 6 years. That same speed is not there in the rural areas. Who is that responsible to help the, develop the rural areas? What the government is taking steps towards only urban development. But what about the rural, is declining. What the development has been so far, still, if it is not concentrated and it is neglected in the same manner, definitely the rural are declining today. People in the rural, they are migrating to different places. Migrating. And we could see that rural agriculture, the rural area is that area which is important for the entire 30% is depend on the 70% of the people, the day-to-day work in the field. If the agriculture is disappearing, if the rurals are disappearing today, it's a danger scenario is going to be faced by every urban areas and the cities and the towns. The one day we come across within such a situation where we will not have enough, food to eat. People have enough money. People will have enough gold. People have enough mansions to live in big mansions. But people have a poverty of the food. Poverty of the food is going to kill. Why? We are declining the development of the rural area. If the rural area does not develop today, then definitely they are going to disappear. The people who are migrating to the cities, the cities are expanding, cities are polluting, cities are, they have a different. The agriculture is the main, the important occupation. If this is only neglected in the country, then if they go and settle into the other places, then definitely we are going to face with such a different situation. We see that those 60% of the people, how much people? 60% of the people work in the primary sector. Remaining 40% of the people, they work for industrial sector and service sector. But 60% of the people who are working for primary sector, that is agriculture. You see that 60% people are working in the agriculture. And we can say 20% of the people for industrial purpose, 10% for service sector, remaining 10% we'll consider just as an unemployed. Because even unemployed can be seen here, unemployed can also be seen here, and in all the sectors. In all the sectors we can see the unemployed. So, the agriculture sector is providing the 60% of the employment that comes from the rural area. Anybody who is in the city, does he go and contribute his life to develop the rural areas on purpose of to sacrifice his life in the fields to go and he is ready to work in the field? If the rural person get out of his village and is coming to the towns and urbans and is working because to lead his life, because he's not satisfied in the village what he is doing. He does not like, because he don't have a proper channel of education, channel of communication, channel of transportation, not the hospital, sanitization, health facility. All these facilities are lacking in the villages today. But yet, his contribution for the purpose of agriculture sector is 60%. He is giving the food to all the cities. The cities are dependent on agriculture. Not the agricultural is dependent on the cities. Why there is a imbalancing? There is called an imbalancing between the city and the growth of the city and the growth of the rural areas. So that is why it is so important for us to concentrate on the rural development. We see, government has initiated a program, liberalization, globalization, industrialization. Why ruralization is not there? Rural development is not there. Okay. So when we see the liberalization, globalization, and the industrialization, there it is a growth and a development of these areas has taken a very rapid. There is a liberty to start up the business, industries, service sectors. There's a global level of business is expanding. Why agriculture is not at the global level? Why agriculture has no liberalization? Why only to the industrials have this level of liberalization? Today, just compare the company of Reliance Foundation, which is not older than our agriculture, I guess. But you compare the agriculture and the Reliance. The Reliance is an industry which has developed so high. There is no comparison with this industry inside India. But do you compare the agriculture growth with this industry? There is a huge, balancing between the agriculture and to the rural development. So we see these are the plans which are implemented by the government, but all of them are against the village. The main focus of the government to develop the village is less. Though there are plenty of plans, but every plan is working negatively in the rural development. So, plenty of people having the reports regarding the rural areas, the all conditions and the certain things. When we come towards the real development of its rural areas is the upliftment of economic and social is the rural, it is the real development of its, the rural communities. We want the economic and social equal development like as it is even in the rural area. What kind of economic development can take place in the rural area? You cannot see a proper bank section in the rural area today. You would see only hardly connecting 5 villages, one bank is connected. People are going a lot of economic tough situation in the rural communities when they are required even though they are people like us, they also have the aims and to live a very standard of life. But yet, because of low economic in their state, in their places, they are unable to contribute the luxurious things for their life. We are seeing that all rural areas lacking many good facility in their life. That is called, the quality of life. The comparison of the quality of the life to the rural people and the city people. Today, city people, 40% of these people, 30% of the people to 70% of the people. There is a big difference in their dressing style, in their living, the cosmetics that they use for self, what kind of slippers they use, what kind of, everything when this compare the life of the people of the rural area and the city area, there is a huge difference between both of them. Why is it happening there? Why is this the gap is between both of them? The reason is the growth of the economic and social state. How is it possible to make sure to change the economic and social, the quality of the life of the people who lives in the villages? How we can modify it? How can we change it off? What is the way to make it of changes? There is a way. Yes, you can, but definitely you need to have to improve the economical development. Economical and social development programs are provided in the rural area, then definitely we're going to see the hike in their life. We're going to see the growth in the life of the people. The situation of the rural area is called the stagnation and a slow growth. It's a stagnation. You know, the water which contained in one place, the situation, the growth of the rural area is compared to the stagnant water. The water which is not flowing, the water which is accumulated in one place, how many days it can be pure? It can be pure for only for certain days, certain months. Afterwards, that same water going to be cut. That water is going to be polluted. You're going to see the fungus. You're going to see a lot of dirtiness in that. We're going to see so much of the backwardness in that. Why? Because the same situation of the villages today is that the villages are stinking. The villages have no proper literacy, no skills, no health places, no sanitization, no good infrastructures, no law and order, transportation, power, communication, market. Do you find all these things improper in the villages? Does the markets are good in the villages? Does the transportation situation is good in the villages? Does the villages have the 24 hours power? 24 into 7 hours is supplied of villages powers. Tell me, the villages farmer, he has to go to the field for the purpose of the power. The power is given to them in the middle of the 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. Then power cuts off, 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 hours. Early in the morning, 5 hours, the farmer has to get up at 2 o'clock in the night and he has to go to the field by 3 and he has to make arrangement, he has to make suitable, he has to adjust with that power and he has to go into the field. Hope many of you belong to the rural areas, and you know what your father and grandfather is trying to do. In many of the villages, they are getting earlier in the morning because the power facility it is in the morning hours. So at that time only if they get up after 8 o'clock, they will not have a power. Till 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock. 3 p.m. again the power comes. From 8 o'clock the power is missing. Then it will continue up to 3 o'clock. Then imagine that's it. For how many hours the power is there, that much only we can experience. The communication in the village, you can see the bad communication. You can see bad communication in the village areas. No good proper sanitization. The water is flowing over the road better side. We are seeing there's even today in the villages we are not seeing the degree colleges, PUC colleges. Students have to travel for their education of the PUC to the different towns. Why? Up to 10th standard, only few villages. Only till 7th standard, the villages are providing the education. Thus, you provide an opportunity to work them. How can we compare this, the population of the villages to the cities and the towns when we have a lack of such backwardness towards the villages? What is the percentage of the people live? 70% of the people in the villages, but the facility is less. So we're going to understand the later part of the importance of the rural development in the next class. Thank you, dear student. Have a great day.